Hi everybody, this is Ben from Lawtomata. Today I'm going to give you a demo of PTOFlow. PTOFlow is a workflow tool that will help you process incoming communications from the Patent Office. The Patent Office sends out millions of communications every year, things like filing receipts, notices of publication, office actions, notices of allowance, and so forth. Processing and reporting these documents inside of your law firm takes a lot of time, and that costs you money. What PTOFlow can do is help you process these documents by identifying common issues, preparing reporting letters and template documents, and fetching prior art references. PTOFlow is like a legal assistant for your legal assistant, helping them be much more efficient at their jobs. So let's get started. Starting with a simple example, suppose we filed a patent application and the Patent Office responded with a notice to file corrected application papers. The first thing we would do is log into the system. Here, we would then pick which attorney we're working for, and here we'll pick that we're working for attorney BRD. That's me. The reason we choose the attorney is because the system can customize templates based on the particular attorney that you're working for. The next thing that we would do is we would drag and drop our document into the app. The app ingests the document and presents us over here on the right a copy of the document, and on the left a data tab. The data tab includes metadata that PTOFlow identified inside of the document we uploaded. The first thing to note is that PTOFlow correctly identified that it was working with a notice to file corrected application papers. We use a little bit of machine learning to do that the right way, and we're pretty accurate at that. You see that we can identify all sorts of different documents, including common PCT documents and common trademark documents as well. PTOFlow also determined what the filing reference was. You can see over here the filing reference, the application number, and some of the other metadata that's present in this particular document. When we're satisfied with the metadata, we go ahead and confirm it. And the next thing PTOFlow does is it walks the user through the different issues it's discovered in the document. Some documents don't really have any issues per se, like a notice of publication is a pretty generic thing, but a notice to file corrected application papers is sent to you because something has gone wrong and the Patent Office is complaining about something. So PTOFlow wants to go and highlight those issues for you. By entering the correct issues at this point, those issues will later appear in whatever template documents that are prepared by PTOFlow. So in this case, the system has identified two issues. The first over here is a substitute specification that's required due to an objection. And the second issue, I'm going a little fast here, the second issue is a requirement to provide replacement drawings due to an objection to the drawings. Notice that in both cases here, PTOFlow made a pretty intelligent guess about what kind of issue it was looking at. And we'll see more of that later when we load a more complicated document like an office action. When we confirm that these are the issues that are raised in the document, we can go ahead and generate any form documents and templates. So the first thing we would want to do is select the client we're working for. By selecting the client, the right client information will be imported into the template documents that are generated by PTOFlow. We go ahead and create documents, and then we download a zip file that includes all of the work product, so to speak. The first couple of items here are the document we uploaded as well as its text counterpart that was generated through the OCR process, and a number of other documents that arise from the templates that are in the system. The most interesting one here is probably this letter, the reporting letter for a patent. And here we'll have a look at what that looks like. And you see the information about the client was imported into the letter. Information about me over here was imported. And similarly, information such as the reference number, application number was also imported into the letter. The content of the letter itself was also generated in part based on the issues that were identified. So remember, PTOFlow identified that there was an objection to figures and an objection to the specification, and a couple of notes have been added to this letter right here, which would then essentially call out to the attorney that they might want to put a little more advice or some sort of description about those issues so that the client could respond in the right way, or so that the client could authorize a response. Let's jump over to a somewhat more interesting document now. And that is probably the office action, is the one that everyone is always interested in seeing. So we received an office action, we drag and dropped it in. The document's uploaded, broken into individual images, OCR process is taking place, and then the document is fully ingested. Here again we see the document on the right, metadata on the left, and the system has determined that it's working with a non-final office action, again through document classification, and it's also figured out a whole bunch of the metadata. Some of this metadata actually is not present in this document. In this case, we can access application data, for example, based on the application number, and figure out the title of the application, which is not present actually in the office action itself. The system is relatively flexible in this regard, so let's say it got the application number wrong. We could go in here and correct the application number, and you see all the information over here changes to reflect metadata associated with that application number. But it did get the application number right, so we'll go back and change it to a totable container with enhanced capacity, or whatever this is. Excuse me. The next step we'll do is we will go through and review the issues. In this case, the system spotted 8 issues. The first one is an objection to the specification. We can optionally add some information about what paragraphs or what the examiner is talking about, but we'll just go ahead and skip to the next one. Here's a case where PTOFlow is being a little bit too aggressive maybe, and it's found another objection, and really maybe that's kind of the same thing as the one we found before, so we could just go ahead and delete that one. The next issue that it found was a rejection under 35 U.S.C. 112 for indefiniteness, and it also identified that claims 1 through 21 were at issue there. The next issue we discovered was an anticipation rejection under Section 102, correctly identified claims 1 through 14 and 18 through 20, and it also identified that the prior art reference at stake was, the cited prior art reference was Sefton, a very old patent, patent number 440656. Let's zip over to the next issue. It's another 102 rejection under a second prior art reference called by the name of Fontana. A third anticipation rejection under a reference Vivian. And a fourth rejection here, which is a combination 103 rejection under the combination of Fontana and a reference called Kellogg. And finally another 103 rejection. So once we're satisfied that PTOFlow has spotted all the right issues, we'll go ahead and generate documents. And notice here, this is somewhat helpful, is that PTOFlow has created sort of a summary of all of the issues that it discovered and the prior art references that were cited by the examiner. We will again select the client and go ahead and ask PTOFlow to do its thing. Notice that PTOFlow went off and actually fetched the cited references for us. So when we download the results bundle, we'll see that it's a bit different than the last one we looked at. So this one has 4 PDFs. Each of these is one of the prior art references. This is the document we uploaded. It also again provides an OCR version of that. And it provided a number of shell documents here. First, let's have a look at the reporting letter. This is the letter that might go out to the client. Here it is. And we see that the metadata has been filled in correctly, the title, the application number, and so forth. It's made some guesses as to when we should be getting instructions or due dates might need to be made. And probably most interesting is it's given an overview of the office action here, where it's basically entered a sentence or 2 or 3 about each of the rejections that it spotted. And this again would be the place where the attorney could jump in and provide some additional advice or guidance for the client. The other document that's created is a shell amendment document. This is the response that an attorney would prepare and file. And when we open that up, we again see that the heading information has been correctly entered, the examiner, title, art unit, all that good stuff. And when we scroll down here, we see that headings have been added to reflect the issues that were identified in the office action. So an objection to the spec, an indefiniteness rejection, some 102 rejections, and a 103 rejection. So the attorney would be able to just jump right into this document and start working. In our law firm, it's been my experience that it can take a legal assistant anywhere from a half an hour to 45 minutes to even an hour to process an incoming office action. And you just watched us do that in probably 5 or 7 or 8 minutes or whatever that took us to do. And I was talking the whole time I did it. So as you can see, it's a lot faster to do this kind of stuff with PTOFlow. So if this interests you, please reach out, give us a call, shoot us an email, and we'll set you up with a free trial account, and you can use it and see if you like it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.